Welcome to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Don't Help Them. I've worked at a national grocery chain for the past decade, in various roles along the way. A few years ago, I was at one of the first stores in the entire company to have online ordering. I'm sure you have seen it near you. Order online, come to the store, we bring it out to you. When it first rolled out, I learned very early how to do every stage of the process, even though it wasn't my job title. It impacts everyone in the store, so I wanted to know the ins and outs of it so that I would be ready for what it meant for me. Early last November, my current store started doing online ordering. They couldn't get anyone to transfer from nearby stores, so they had to hire an entirely new crew and send them to other places to be trained. This training only lasted a few days, then the system went live. Even the department head was one of these new hires. No one knew what they were doing. Whenever someone pulls up to get their order, a loud doorbell in the pickup office rings. This office is right by my department in a major hallway, so I can hear it. In the first week, this doorbell would ring and no one would come back to the department to get the order. They'd just keep shopping for the order they were working on. They had a phone on them that also chimed, but they ignored it. This leads to long wait times and unhappy customers. I started paging over the intercom anytime a customer was waiting for pickup. I would get orders ready so the pickup clerks just had to take them out. Whatever. My department never suffered for this help. It was something I could do quickly and efficiently to help keep them afloat. Well, one time a customer called the store directly and I happened to answer it. She said her pickup time was at 1. She got there at 1 and she had been waiting for 30 minutes. She was set off. I got her name and checked the computer and saw that the shopping for her order wasn't even complete yet. And none of the pickers were shopping for that order. They were picking orders that weren't due for pickup for another 3 hours. I called my store manager and told her what was going on. She yelled in my ear, "Why are you even answering the phone for them? You need to stop making pages, stop hovering over that department and worry about your own." Not what I expected, considering I had the most experience with online ordering and these new hires had no idea what they were doing. And yes, my store manager knew this. But I said alright and hung up with her. I picked up the phone call with the customer and told her it would be a while and that I was unable to help further. I also recommend she come in and speak with the store manager if she had any concerns. I went back to my department and started working. It only took a few minutes before I heard the store manager being paged to the front, and the shouting that ensued could be heard on every corner of the sales floor. But it doesn't end there. As I said, this program was rolling out in November, and Thanksgiving was just a few weeks away. I stopped helping in any way. No overhead pages, no staging orders, no answering phone calls. Nothing. The number of orders skyrocketed and the department was constantly incredibly far behind. They routinely had to call customers and tell them they'd have to come later in the day or even the next morning. Pick time plummeted, wait time skyrocketed, efficiently ground to a halt. It was horrible. And I just kept my department in tip-top shape, giving the new hires sympathetic looks whenever I would see their beleaguered faces. Eventually, the store manager came to me and asked for my help. I'd love to help, but I was told rather empathetically to worry about my own department. Now, I knew that I was in no position to say no. If the store manager told me to do something that I was trying to do, saying no was insubordination and a fireable offense. But that didn't stop me from reminding her that it was her who put them in that situation to begin with. I took great pleasure in the sigh she gave and the genuine apology that followed. I accepted her apology and went to help. The workers are much better trained now, and for the most part the department is running smoothly. I no longer have to help as much as I did in those early months, but my store manager is happy to have me when the need for help arises. The next story is called Participate More. When I started secondary school, I loved PE and always participated to my fullest. I played netball and did trampoline as extracurriculars. In my spare time, I would hike for miles most weekends, after spending my mornings out horse riding. I was a very active person. Then, when I was 13, I was in a car accident. My mom's car was rear-ended by someone texting while speeding down an icy road, and I was sitting in the back. I was pretty badly hurt, including damage to my knees, back and right arm. This is long-term damage, never going to fully recover fully type injuries. My PE teacher decided that my now inability to participate in lessons was due to these injuries. I was actually just being lazy, and she wasn't going to accept that. So she wanted to force me to participate. After a few months of this, I agreed to participate fully in a tennis lesson as I got fed up with her trying to berate and humiliate me every class when I couldn't do everything she was asking for. She was very smug at catching out my lies. I knew this wouldn't end well, but was expecting to just injure myself more and use that as leverage to get out of lessons from now on. What actually happened was far better. I was starting to flag pretty quickly after my first game, but she tells me I can't have a break and have to keep playing and to put some real effort in. So I do. Someone sends a ball at me and I try to hit it hard. The weakness in my arm causes the racket to fly out of my hand. This took out some of the suspended lightings on its way before smashing the very expensive scoreboard mounted on the wall behind the courts. Now, my school didn't actually own the sports hall we used. They were allowed to use it as part of an agreement with the next door sports center. My school / the council sold the land to them to make some extra cash with an agreement that the school could use the facilities. So me breaking the expensive scoreboard caused a lot of difficulties in the school and later center relationship, and the teacher got into some serious trouble over it. She still kept her job, but was demoted from head of department. The key bit for me though was that I was allowed to spend PE lessons in the library with the other non-PE taking students, reading and doing homework for the rest of my secondary school life. The last story is called Check and Mate. In the early 2000s, my wife and I had a nice home built in a new development that used to be a strip of farmland. The loss of farmland to housing is never a good thing, but it's common in the US. In Pennsylvania, farmers will often sell a portion of the land because costs are driving them out of business. We are in the countryside. The development is located along a small back road. There are scattered houses elsewhere, but the entire township is still mostly farms. Somehow, a proto-Karen raised a successful challenge to a nearby farmer's cattle operation. He lost, if I remember correctly, because his facilities for manure management were old, out of compliance, etc. Now her chief complaint was the odor. I'm here to tell you that nasty smells were non-existent. Yes, it smelled like a farm sometimes, but it's a natural, earthy smell. You know what isn't a natural, earthy smell? Treated sewage sludge. No longer able to use cow manure from his herd to fertilize his fields, the farmer began spreading treated sewage sludge on his land. Now, the use of sludge is controversial, but what is completely uncontestable is that it stinks to high heaven. It's bad, very bad. Once it dries, it's not noticeable, but for a day or three, Proto-Karen naturally went to the authorities and tried everything to get him to stop. His only response by all accounts was that he wouldn't have to use the sludge if he still had his cattle operation. Check and mate. And with that we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories and today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. And I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.